Actually, it is. Every person, if you divided out the amount of the actual 12 trillion by the population of the country, I believe it was about $38,500 per person. Ray's group, give me a fact.
Education is the sixth most thing we spend on.
Oh, we just said that.
That's already been said. Ray's group, I'm sorry. Petzmeyer, give me a fact. They also said it was the 8th, the 7th, the 9th, too, but they ultimately got to the 6th. Petzmeyer's group, 5.
It goes in with taxes spend.
What's that?
It goes in with taxes spend, where as part of that program they added the 21 drinking age as an incentive to the highway reform bill, where they would give extra money if the state governments accepted a policy that they couldn't institute nationally.
That has nothing to do.
It's a part of the budget where they were allocating additional funds.
Okay, so explain to me how what is that really dealing with? You're talking about the tax and spend power, and you're talking about the drinking age, right?
Yeah.
What's the federal government do, or what is it allowed to do when it spends money?
Allocate to where it goes and how.
Okay, allocate to where it goes. Yeah, that's true. But what are they doing in that example you're telling me?
They're regulating it. And
What do you mean by regulating?
they're saying that if you establish 21 drinking age, we'll give you money. So they're paying the state governments to establish legislation.
They're giving them an incentive. They're putting conditions. The federal government is free when it spends its money to put conditions on the money that it spends. Yes, I can go with that. A little further from the line, but still close. Barack's group, give me a fact. 5.
Class is not able to change net interest.
Actually, that is absolutely true. You are the one category you could not change was the interest category. Angela's group, go.
Governments have the right to collect taxes on a federal and state level. Federal taxes, state taxes are separate.
We taking this?
No, the federal government doesn't have power.
We don't have anything? No. Oh,
We taking this? 5.
great.
4. Anything else? 3.
Privileges and immunities for the unemployment benefits that you talked about.
Okay, go ahead.
You can travel between states. That's a free right given.
What was the objection of the Connecticut governor to that privilege and immunity? What was his big problem with unemployment benefits from those South Carolinians coming up there to Connecticut?
Because they would receive more money because of the expense of
Okay, they would receive more money. Whose money?
of the Connecticut.
They would receive more of the Connecticut money. So how does that have to do with the Connecticut budget? What was the governor's problem with that?
Because they never input anything.
They never put anything in. They were effectively taken away from Connecticut citizens. I can go with that. Petzmeyer's group, give me a fact.
One of the problems with the Articles of Confederation was that the government could not institute mandatory taxes, and they couldn't pay off the debts that they incurred.
You know, that is true. The government could not tax, and if they could not tax, they could not spend, so there was no deal with the budget in that regard. I can go with that. Barack's group, give me a fact.
There are 27 categories in which to spend for.
Okay, there's 27 categories. Give me something a little bit better than that.
Out of that 27, commerce and housing loan programs is the lowest. We only spend $6 billion on housing and commerce programs. Yes.
We taking this?
Yes, that's the truth.
5.
No.
This is the fact.
4. Give me something good. Anybody in the group? 3. 2. 1. Anything at all. Commerce, or not commerce, but budget.
The interest each year is $211 billion.
Petzmeyer, Barack's group's out. Angela's group, give me a fact.
Social Security won't be practical in the next maybe 10 to 15 years as the baby boomer population exponentially.
You know, that is true. We did talk about the idea that Social Security as we know it is not something that we are going to get even though we're paying for it. I can go with that. Petzmeyer's group.
We spend less than 1% of our national budget on developing new science, space, and technology.
What budget?
Of the national budget.
What year?
Ray is making noises. Was that you, Ray?
No.
Ray just made a noise. Did y'all hear that? Okay, are we taking that?
For the national budget simulation we did, less than 1% of our national budget was dedicated to.
Is that something I should ask y'all on a test? No. 5.
It still has to do with the budget.
4.
Fork spending adds a lot of money to the budget.
What is fork spending?
It's when they take a bill, say for the highway, and they'll add like projects like the Rock and Roll Museum, a couple hundred thousand here, couple $100,000 there for the airport.
Yeah.
Someone wants to revitalize it. They're gonna issue federal funds.
Who ultimately puts these little pork items in?
Congressman.
The congressman. And where are they putting them? Where is this going
Their
for?
home district.
And they're going to their home district. Pork barrel spending is the idea that congressmen will put little things in bills that have nothing to do with the bill in order to spend money back in their home district to demonstrate that they are effective congresspeople. Angela's group, 5, 4.
Alright, taking out residences to build public, I guess, buildings or businesses like malls and stuff like that, or even roads, to increase the tax revenue.
Oh, I'll go with that. Yeah, that actually does go back. The idea, if you remember, the idea of eminent domain, that you could take people's houses, pay for those houses, and then ultimately build condominiums, businesses, restaurants in order to generate more tax dollars. Absolutely. Petzmeyer's group.
It's an example of an unfunded mandate where Connecticut sued the federal government for No Child Left Behind because it was costing them $42 million to institute a test. That
Was that a chapter question?
It was in the textbook.
5,
It's
4. Give me something. 3.
How about the idea that, going back a little further, we said that the Declaration of Independence was a way to gather foreign support. So one of the things that you could argue is that we would not be able to have gotten the loans in the first place from countries like France to actually fund to get the weapons and stuff like that.
Now that's the kind of ingenuity I'm kind of liking here. Yeah, the Declaration of Independence did indeed gain support, which ultimately gained us dollars in order to be able to fight and earn independence. Angela's group, 5.
We spend more on military than half the rest of the world.
Half.
I mean,
So,
more than the rest of the world combined.
actually, that is true. We do spend more on military than the rest of the world combined. Absolutely. Petzmeyer's group, 5, 4, 3, 2.
well, just unfunded mandate.
Are you going to go there again? Go ahead. 1. Ray, make the noise. Okay. If y'all will, write +6 with your names. +6. If y'all will write +4.